right, guys, we're gonna go
into the next part.
Yes.
This is probably going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. But okay, the next part, because it's only two. It's a very short book of the Bible. Amos 6-9.
Amos 6-9. This basically is God and Amos. Amos starts telling everybody what God's going to do, and then God is telling him what he's going to do. He's saying, hey, guys, guess what? All this is going to lead to the destruction of the idols. God's going to bring down fire. And then we just were talking the other day, God has 3 different types of fires. One that doesn't burn. Moses saw the burning bush. One that
does burn, one
that he calls, that Elijah did.
And then the other one that burns some and not others, like the Meshach, Shadrach,
and Abednego. But we haven't got there yet, so we don't. I think it's in Daniel, but we haven't got to that story.
But you know what's funny? I don't even know that story yet, but I do know that you're not supposed to call them that. They were given other names or something.
Yeah,
but it's so catchy. People want to say that.
But yeah, and Abednego, yes. And God probably knew that to get his message out.
Yep.
And then it talks about, here people say it doesn't talk about Christ. It talks about Christ again, where David's descendant is going to be a Masonic king. And it just talks about how he's going to save and bring all nations under God. So that's the end of Amos. Now, this is asking a question, and I got to go.
I know, that's what you know what?
The question is, guys, which modern day country does Amos 6:1-7 remind you of, and why? I don't understand why they're never mind.
I mean, they're a little messy. Let me just shout them out though, because they got a good daily Bible reading plan. 365 daily Bible reading plan from teachsundayschool.com. It was part of a larger package, but you can pretty much get a Bible reading plan from a lot of different places. But sometimes we're reading their sort of like reading prompts, and sometimes I feel like they're a little bit messy. They had a couple of questions last year about when we were going over last year about like, how does this remind you of the political system in America or something like that? And I was like, what y'all talking?
This might be the last time I read them. Anyway, it's like, we got to stay.
Listen, we want to stay focused, but we don't even have to read this. But you don't even have to talk about this. Which modern day country does Amos 6:1-7 remind you of, and why?
So the only thing about that question is,
it could be a lot.
Question, if that is based in America, you're only going to talk about America. I can't talk about every country. Here's what I'm going to say: every country is doing the same under God. Bad, evil.
Oh my gosh!
It doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter. Yes, you live in America. Well, Wi-Fi is free and we live with all these luxuries. But like, we have luxuries that other people have, luxuries that we don't have. Other people, and some in this country too, but they live on the land and they get to access all the beautiful of God's glory, and they created the land. They live on a farm and they get to see all his animals and all his creation, right? Or you can live in the city of New York and look at all the beautiful historic buildings. In other countries, they have better beaches. Like, I just think that God's glory is in all countries, and everything described in that Bible verse is every country and every aspect of it, because it's the Bible. Everything that's described through 1, 6, and 7 in Amos has to happen in every country, because this is before all the countries were even here.
I mean, even more. So to your point, but even so, we're going to basically talk about a better question or a better takeaway, because we're going to talk about Amos's visions. I thought that was interesting, but I think even more important than trying to say like which. This is an interesting conversation that we started a few days ago. More important than figuring out like which country is this most like that Amos is describing. It's like, I'm not really sure that that's going to really help us, right? Really, what would be helpful is understanding how to apply it, or like what God means by it, or learning more about God by that. So, I mean, I'm not trying to, kind of
really
be
helpful
rude to
would be
them.
like, let's talk about Amos 9.
Well, so that's what we'll do then. But I'm not trying to be rude. Somebody's job was to come up with those questions, and maybe that was a tough day for them, and they were just like, oh, let's put this in there. Like, who knows? More importantly, though, is that if, like, regardless of which country is which, we're all on God's green earth. So even if it was like one country is better than the other, or one person is better than the other, it's nothing like nobody's better than anybody. We're all, in the eyes of God, like we're all his children. And I think that's really one of the major misconceptions and challenges that we face as human beings. It's like, the point isn't to like find fault or to say, oh, I know about your type, I read about you in the Bible. It's like, that's fine if you make that assessment for yourself, but is it helpful to like share it? Is it helpful to, or is it more helpful to focus on your purpose in your relationship with God, right? Like, it's not probably that helpful for me to say, is this more like London or France, or, or it's more helpful for me to say, like, what can I take away from this to say, what does God want me to do? And what does he not want me to do? And what is he trying to get me to see so that I can be purposeful and that I can learn more and become more in Christ? So that's really kind of what we want to focus on, right?